What are different types of hair transplants and which one is the right option for you? Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Parsa Mohebi, a hair transplant surgeon in Los Angeles. Today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about different types of hair restoration and how to pick one. Regular FUE hair transplant. FUE stands for follicular unit excision, which is we individually remove the follicular units and transplant them. In regular FUE procedure, we, unlike the other types that we don't shave, like celebrity FUE, we shave the head on the donor and recipient area. And that's usually the most affordable type of hair transplant and the most common one that we do in our offices. Female hairline lowering could be done with hair transplant or with the procedure that they remove a piece of the skin from here on the forehead and bring the hairline lower and suture it. The best way of doing it, I believe, is hair transplant. With the procedures that we can do today, there's no room for surgical procedure, cutting or suturing, because we can select the grafts that we want, the hair follicles from the back and sides, and transplant them in a very natural way, so nobody can tell there is a hair transplant done, there was a hair transplant done, or there's no scar on the transplanted area. People who have scars for different reasons, trauma, surgery, or even hair transplant, or old method hair transplant left a scar in the back, that could be easily fixed with hair transplantation. The way to do it, we remove hair from surrounding area or other areas and put them into this scar and minimize the contrast of the scar that has no hair with surrounding area that they have 100% hair. So by blending it in, we camouflage the scar so it won't be visible. Transgender hair transplant is one of the most successful procedures that transgender people can do, because unless you reframe the face, unless you change the face to a feminine one, you cannot really give the impression of a feminine look. Everything else could be done with prosthetics or procedures, but face is very important. In fact, there's some women that have male pattern hairlines. So the corners are going back, and when you look at them, especially if you don't see the whole face, on the top you feel like you're looking at a man's face. So that's very successful just by making the hairline curved as opposed to like angled that we see in most Caucasian men, at least. People can easily achieve a feminine hairline, and that's one of the most important steps in sex reassignment procedure. Power hairline is again one of the procedures that we have invented. We coined the name power hairline for people who don't necessarily have baldness. They may have full head of hair, but the hairline is not as solid as it used to be. It's very common in middle-aged men, anything above the age 50, or even people who don't lose hair, they're not supposed to lose hair. So men after age 50, they all have some thinning of hair in front, and that makes them look older. By reinforcing the hairline, by making it like nice and solid, you don't see that effect. People look a lot younger just with a small procedure. A small number of grafts could be transplanted. This is a short procedure too. It's probably could be done probably in half a day, and people go in and out and they get a perfect solid hairline. The reason we call it power hairline is because it's usually done by executives who want to have everything perfectly done. Just like their power watches that they show who they are, the power hairline shows what kind of personality they may have. African American or curly hair transplant is in concept is similar to a regular FUE, regular hair transplant. It could be even done through celebrity method without shaving hair. But the difference is that the hair is very curly. So it's more challenging to extract hair and transplant them. We have different methods. Today we have better equipments, better systems that they can detect the texture of the skin and the type of hair and go with multiphasic mechanism to remove the grafts without causing any harm to the follicles. So African American hair is very successful because it's usually coarser hair and thicker hair, and the people who get it, they have great result, but not everybody is capable of doing African American FUE hair transplant, and some doctors prefer not to do the FUE method for hair transplant for African Americans. They use the more traditional methods like strip procedures. Robotic FUE is another type of hair transplant that a robot, a computerized system would decides which graft to remove, which follicular unit to remove, and everything in terms of extraction of the grafts is done with a robot. We're hoping that the technique is getting better, but at this point there are other methods that can surpass the quality of the grafts that we can harvest by robot. Beard to scalp hair transplant is a great option for people who don't have enough supply of hair on the back and sides to be transplanted on the balding area. So our priority in selecting the hair to be transplanted is from the scalp to scalp, and then from beard to scalp, and if none of these are available, we go to body to scalp. So beard to scalp is exceptionally useful for people who want to get maximum density and they don't have enough reserve on the back, or people who want to use beard hair from the bottom of the chin and neck to recreate their mustache or other areas of the face. Body hair transplant is the last option when it comes to choosing a donor for transplantation. So body hair is not as thick or as coarse, or they won't grow as long as as a scalp or beard hair transplant. So we keep it as a reserve, and not everybody has enough body quality to be transplanted to a scalp. So we want people who have very thick, solid body hair on chest or extremities. Celebrity hair transplant is a type of non-shaving FUE that we have invented in our offices of Parsa Mohebi Hair Restoration, and we offer it in our offices in Los Angeles and San Francisco area. The way it's working is that we don't have to shave anything. We don't have to shave the recipient area, we don't have to shave the balding area, the donor area, but we go with a special tool, remove the hair, either short hair or long hair, but we don't shave to prepare for extraction. When hair is transplanted, sometimes they have short hair, sometimes they have long hair, but either way, the results are going to be perfectly natural, and the overall appearance of the hair after hair transplant, when the results are done after 8 months or 10 months, is going to be perfectly like regular procedure. The advantage of celebrity FUE is that it has no shaving involved, and there's no downtime after procedure. That's why many people who are not able to have time to recuperate after procedure, they choose this procedure as opposed to regular FUE hair transplant. Eyebrow hair transplant is also another very successful procedure that we can use, usually scalp to eyebrow or sometimes beard to eyebrow. Both of them are available to us. Depends on the texture of the eyebrow and which one of these hairs are a better match for eyebrow. People who don't have eyebrow, or they want to have more augmented eyebrow, they can easily do a hair transplant to restore the eyebrows, or they can reshape the eyebrows the way they want with the eyebrow hair transplant. I hope I was able to answer questions about how procedures are different, hair transplant procedure, what's available to you, and how you could choose one. If you still have more questions, make sure you put your questions in the comment section, and we go ahead and answer them whenever we get them. Also, if you want to know what's the newest in hair restoration, make sure you follow us on YouTube and our social media.